From cheers of the fans to the crack of the bat, learn it all from Jimbo, Gabe, Mike, and Matt. Giving thoughts on all public teams, whether times are boom or if they are lean. Hero players that you should know, not only the good things, highs and the lows. Here it is, we're ready to go. Please enjoy the podcast on with the show.
Good morning, good evening, and good everything in between, and welcome to the podcast. It's our Japan Series preview episode. I'm your host, Jim Bernicki, and I'm joined as always by Mr. Gabe Lorman. How you doing, Gabe?
Looking forward to a quick dip in the pool after this. My apartment complex just recently got a new indoor pool to replace the outdoor one, and I gotta say, it's really nice. It's open till 11 o'clock, too.
Ooh, nice. I was going to say, if you're going outside, it's a bit nippy. I mean, in this Canadian fall, but that's brave. But hell yeah, indoor pool. Let's go. And we're joined also by Mr. Michael Bealey. How are you doing, Mike?
Very busy, very busy. Having convention this weekend and got to try and get all the inventory lined up.
Oh, nice. What kind of convention? Collectibles?
Non-sports collectibles, and really most of the other sellers just sell like garbage pail kids, and not even Pokemon is there. It's a really weird crowd, but I just kind of go there because there's a lot of kids that go with like their parents at the card show, and they tend to just buy all my Demon Slayer and other anime merchandise.
Okay, cool. Nice. I was going to ask what you sell, but yeah, that sounds like a pretty good deal. So, as we are all aware, the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks are officially through and through your Pacific League champions after they swept the Hokkaido Nippon Ham Fighters. And I thought it was going to be a closer series, but they really pushed on through. Hotaki Yamakawa is your PLCS MVP by going 6-for-2 with 3 home runs and a 6 RBI stat line. I mean, he had one hell of a series. What did you guys think of the series other than the kind of beatdown?
Yeah, the beatdown. Mike had it pegged. It was a sweep. Just shows the level of play difference between the Hawks and the rest of the Pacific League this season. Hopefully there can be a little bit more balance going forward, so it's not Hawks all the way tape to tape and into the postseason. What can you say? They built a juggernaut.
I mean, I feel like the Buffaloes kind of did that last year, didn't they? They were pretty much always on top, and then they kind of ran through the playoffs. Or is it like a 5-game series, I guess?
I can't remember.
Yeah, neither do I. Yeah, someone will correct us. And yeah, Mike had it right with the sweep. Did you have anything else you want to add on to the series?
Not only was it a sweep, it was a very, very just every game was really one-sided. I felt like it didn't seem like at any point that the Fighters really had a chance. But I've never really been too high on the Fighters to begin with, so I could just be being a hater.
I would argue it felt close at the beginning of the game we broadcasted. It looked like it was going to be a good series then.
And then reality set in.
Yeah.
And then Yamakawa got to the plate.
Yeah. Then Yamakawa and Kondo and everyone.
Got the Kondo and 139, biggest mistake of my life. But I mean, obviously, the Marines lost to the Fighters, but did my mic cut out there for a second?
Nope.
Okay. Everything freaked out on my end. Obviously, the Marines lost to the Fighters, and I feel like they probably would have gave the Hawks a better fight just with, the better. I think they just had a much better rotation because it was really the offense that failed the Marines. I mean, they just all kind of stayed home. I mean, every game except for that last one was 3-2, 2-0, something like that. So, but overall, everything was about as expected.
Fair enough. And we've also got our monthly MVPs for September and October. Gabe, you want to take us through that real quick?
Sure thing. For the batters, Fukuoka SoftBank Hawk third baseman Ryoya Kurihara led the Pacific League in batting average for the month of September, 33 hits in 26 games, or I think it was a 320 batting average, 5 home runs, and 24 RBIs, and he's kept up the pace into the postseason. For the pitching side, Hokkaido Nippon Ham Fighters starter Hiromi Ito, no surprise there, he pitched 3 consecutive complete games to muscle his team into second place, going 4-1 with 41 innings pitched over 5 starts, 42 strikeouts, and a 1.32 ERA. Oh, he's good. So good.
And that brings us over to, before we get into the Around the Horn, our official Japan Series preview and predictions. Let's start with you, Gabe. What do you see going on here?
I mean, the Bay Stars credit to them. They almost got reverse swept by the Giants, but managed to pull it out in game 6. If memory serves, they are the lowest win percentage to make it into the Japan series ever. They are, I think, were only 1 or 2 games above 500. So, true, postseason tends to reward the hot teams as opposed to the best teams. But I don't think you can look at this on paper and see any position where the Bay Stars are definitively better than the Hawks, save one. I think you got to give Shugo Maki the nod at second base over Jeter Downs.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. It's pretty much the only position they've got. And then, yeah, they really can't compete 1 to 9 or in the rotation. I think maybe the bullpen might be a bit on par-ish, but still the Hawks are probably ahead. But yeah, I don't like predicting sweeps, but like Hawks and 5 at worst case scenario, I think. Personally, what
You've
about
got Kohei Arihara rested, ready to go in game 1. Levon Moinello rested, ready to go in game 2. Carter Stewart Jr. for game 3. Ryosuke Otsu in game 4, possibly. And oh yeah, they still got Nao Higashihama for game 5 if they need him. Or you stuff one of Otsu or Higashihama into the bullpen as a super shutdown guy just to get to Darwinzon Hernandez and Roberto Osuna. Good luck scoring.
Yeah, and Arihara can probably turn it around on 3 days rest, I'd imagine. So yeah, it's gonna be a doozy. What about you, Mike? You have any predictions?
So I think I'm gonna say it'll probably be SoftBank in 6 because I think with Yokohama and the Bay Stars, I'm not one of those really hardcore like, oh, they have the momentum, they have this, they have that, but they did play a lot later than SoftBank, who had to sit for a lot longer time. And that's been a very, how long, the buys and how long the players got to sit, screwing up their timing and everything, stuff like that. I do think it'll be SoftBank, but I think it's going to be semi-close with SoftBank in 6. I think Yokohama can get probably a win in game 1. Honestly, I think that'll go their way, and then I think maybe like game 5, and then it'll just be the Hawks in 6.
I would usually agree with you on the momentum thing and the resting thing, but I feel like rest is exactly what the Hawks wanted because of getting Kondo and Yanagita right. And I mean, they're all professionals; they'll all keep their timing up. And yeah, I could see the Bay Stars stealing a game at home, but yeah, that's about it. I really think once it gets to the PayPay Dome, it's just going to be a total shutdown. And so that brings us over to our Around the Horn segment where we talk about all our teams from top to bottom in the league. And it was the NPB draft, I think, it was yesterday, wasn't it?
Earlier today, actually.
Oh, well, there we go. Fantastic. And we don't really have any Hawks news because they are in the Japan series, but I do have a quick little breakdown of their draft. The Hawks lost out on prize prospect Rui Muneyama. He was the kind of the big prospect everyone wanted. He was the big lottery pick, and the Eagles got him, and the Hawks did not. And they also lost out to local prospect, his name, but it was a local pitcher from a Fukuoka high school who looked pretty decent, but the Fighters picked him up. But still, I love the Hawks draft. They got some really perfect kind of Hawks-esque players. Taito Murakami from Kobe Kurio High School just screams Hawk prospect. He's a former catcher who in his last year of high school became a pitcher, and he's just got pure heat. That's all he throws. He just throws a fastball. He's got nothing else, but it's a heater. He's in the mid to high 90s as a first-year pitcher. They can just develop him for years. Worst case scenario, I think he becomes a really good bullpen arm. Best case scenario, he could either be their future closer or a good starter. On the second round, they got Yudai Shoji from Kanagawa University. Couldn't find any defensive highlights for him, which is a bit concerning as an infielder. And his bat looks decent, but I saw some highlights of him running, and he is a bit of a menace on the base paths. Could be a bit of a new Shuto, so very happy to have him as part of the crew. And we've also finally gotten the third round Shun and Toku from Fuji University, another hard-throwing pitcher. I couldn't find much stuff on his repertoire, but he looks kind of pro-ready already. So, man, I think this is a perfect Hawks draft. You got good developmental prospects, and it's the Hawks. You can keep them in the minor league system for a long time. Just build them up. And, yeah, I could not be happier with the Hawks draft. I mean, getting Muniyama would have been amazing. I would have just said they're going to win the Japan series again next year. Just put him in at second base and we're good to go. But no, I'm super happy with the Hawks draft. And I guess, yeah, you guys probably didn't research my players, so let's just kick it right over to the Hokkaido Nippon Ham Fighters. Gabe, what do you got for them?
Quite a bit of news. First off, Tsuyoshi Shinjo has saved his own job. You remember him saying that if he didn't make the postseason, he wasn't going to stick around and continue to manage the fighters? Well, he made his mind up just before the draft. Via Kyoto News, Big Boss will return for another season managing the team. In his own words, I want to prove that last year's result wasn't a fluke. Fingers crossed, Big Boss. I'd love to see the fighters back in the postseason. Also staying in Kita Hiroshima, the Franimal. Franmil Reyes signed a multi-year deal with the fighters, as per the team official Twitter, and was quoted as saying, I couldn't imagine playing anywhere other than the fighters. He complimented how welcoming the team has been, too. I may need to get his jersey. Guy won PL MVP for August and hit 25 home runs in only 100 games or so, if memory serves. Oh yeah, fun guy. Two foreign players not returning next year, relievers Brian Rodriguez and Patrick Murphy. Murphy was a one and done here in Japan, but it's a sad farewell for B-Rod. This was his 7th season with the Fighters. He got demoted in June and never quite made his way back up. He leaves with a 3.59 ERA over 166 appearances and 157 strikeouts. Some fun trivia I spotted on Twitter. Apparently, Yuya Gunji's bat was masking some of his poor defensive performance at third. According to Delta Graphs, he posted a minus 20 defensive runs saved, third worst in NPB. Probably better to have Kotaro Kiyomiya there at third base to make room for Ariel Martinez at first. Gotta get both their bats in somehow. Maybe Gunji moves to left field. Maybe he spells Reyes at DH. Hard to say. Speaking of the draft, man, the fighters just can't stay away from the two-way prospects. First Ohtani, then Kota Yazawa, and after missing on their first choice, the fighters settled on Reo Shibata, a pitcher and batter from Fukuoka Ohori High School. Yaku Cosmopolitan had the best analysis of him, a 4-pitch mix of four-seamer, slider, curve, and forkball, and at the plate was intentionally walked 6 times in 7 games at regionals this summer because of how fearsome he is. Defensively, probably profiles as a DH or first baseman, but the bat is absolutely worth it. Silly thing, he's named after the Lions. Leo the Lion.
That's amazing. And actually, I wish we had cameras so you saw my face when you said that, because I was trying to research him after I saw that the Hawks missed on him, and I kept seeing like half pitching highlights and half hitting highlights. I'm like, well, what's going on? Are these his teammates? Wait, why is he hitting and pitching? And then I'm like,
Yep.
oh, it's a two-way guy. I'm a silly goose.
He's another dual wielder, and if the fighters have some secret sauce that can actually develop these guys, it's going to be very interesting going forward. Just have like 9 guys who field all positions and then pitch 2. Just do it. Saves on payroll.
That's just cricket, by the way. That's just my team scoring. Anyways, that brings us over to our third place team, the Chiba Lodi Marines. Mike, take it away.
Okay, so for the Marines, they won a 2A lottery for Aoyama Gakuin University outfielder Michio Nishikawa, who I know nothing about because, as I said, I've been on the go since this morning preparing for the weekend, so I honestly completely forgot the draft happened. But I hopefully, he turns out well, and everybody the Marines got turns out well. I'll be researching them right after this because it's the first free time I've had all day. But in other news, Neftali Soto will return to the team next year in 2025, a return I'm very happy of, but also very cautious due to his age, but overall very happy. I feel like Soto was just a different player with the Marines than he was with Yokohama. He got 132 hits this season. That's his highest since 2019, where he got 139. He broke 200 total bases for the first time since 2020. Had his highest RBI totals since 29, where he had 108. He had 88 this year. I can't say for certain, but I feel like in Yokohama, they just wanted his power to come back, and it just never quite got there because he had back-to-back 40-plus home run seasons, and then it's just been like 20-plus seasons since then, except for last year. I think he got 14, maybe less. And I think with the Marines coaching staff, they were like, okay, well, maybe the power's not there anymore. But, the wind blows everything in anyway, so who cares? So just focus on making contact, and he's been doing that. He did that pretty much all season, just putting the ball in play. And, like we always joke, he had productive outs somehow all the time. So really happy to see him back, and he's gonna be back with Gregory Polanco, who I couldn't really find much information on his contract because I remember reading last year that he had a multi-year deal, but I couldn't figure out how many years there were. So I checked again today, and I still don't know how many years it is because even his Wikipedia article says it's just multi-years. I would like to know how many years, please. That would be preferred. But great one-two punch with them, and I'm very happy that they're sticking with proven foreign players because I feel like the foreign hitters are just getting harder and harder and harder to come by. Like pitching's been fine, but foreign hitters, it's been pretty rough out there. I think for every team involved, like it's just been, there just really hasn't been like that guy as of recent. I don't know what you guys think on that though.
For Polanco.
No, just
Or-
for foreign hitters in general.
I mean, give him a shot. Why not? Some of them are really good. Franimal was good. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't see there's
I
any.
think Franimal is like the first like one in a while that's been like like a constant highlight reel.
I think it's going to come down to better scouting on the part of the Pacific League teams. I got a foreign hitter in the Buffalo segment who I'm like, wait, he's still under
Yeah.
contract? Oh yeah. So finding folks, I mean, the Hawks have done exceptionally well with folks from Cuba, not only just Moinello, but Despine, Yurispel Gracial. I think of the teams in terms of foreign batters, I think you've got the Marines, Hawks, and Fighters at the forefront. Eagles haven't had a good foreign hitter since like Andrew Jones. Buffalo's definitely won the Japan Series in 2022 without any foreign players in the lineup, just on the pitching staff. And the Lions, yeah, good question. They let David McKinnon walk for nothing.
Yeah, seriously.
I feel like the Lions just in general could just be, oh, good question for
Yeah,
everything related to them.
basically
But
for every
sure.
signing type. Yeah.
But in other news for the Marines, Shuta Takano will try to break into the starting rotation this season. He only made 2 starts this season. Interesting player, and I am rooting for him. He went undrafted in 2020, and was pretty depressed with that. Joined Nippon Express of the Industrial League, and he played corporate ball for a couple years. And then finally, in 2022, was drafted. And the interesting thing about him getting drafted was he couldn't even watch the draft. He just didn't have it in him after, watching the previous draft and just seeing him not getting himself called. He said that he just took a walk and went to the local Family Mart when he got drafted. And, that's really a player I can identify with because I too have been in a Family Mart while life-altering decisions have happened.
There you go.
It's an interesting place. Things happen there. But anyway, really hoping he succeeds. He's been good in bullpen games this year and limited relief appearances. So pulling for him. In other news, not returning next year will be Seiya Inoue, a fan favorite nicknamed Aja after I believe Aja Kong, the pro wrestler. She was a good pro wrestler.
You
I've
remember
seen
correctly.
a couple retro matches on my hotel in Japan. There's always like a pro wrestling channel, 24/7 wrestling channel. At night, I'll just watch these random like 1980s like wrestling tapes they throw on there. I swear it's a real VCR they're throwing on this channel. It's
I
crazy,
want that so bad. God, I wish we had that.
dude. It's great. But Inoue, a very interesting career for Inoue. Spent the majority of his career as a farmhand up until 2018. By that point, he only had 4 total career home runs and had none in 2017 in limited top team appearances. But in 2018, he really broke out and just pretty much was like the offense for the team in 2018. Had 24 home runs. To not only lead the team in home runs, he was the only player on that 2018 team that had double-digit home runs. 2018 was an interesting year for the Marines, and then he came in 2019. His playing time was expected to diminish with the signing of Brandon Laird. There was Kenny Vargas who was going to be over at first base, and then Kenny Vargas just didn't work out. So they went right back to the farm, picked up a new way, put him back at first, and he had another 24 home runs. And then 2020 he had some more regular playing time, but it was clear that it was diminishing and diminishing quickly. And in the past 3 seasons or so, he's basically just been up and down. And then this year he didn't play at the top level at all. So after 11 seasons, fan favorite Inoue calling it quits. To me, I'll always remember him as the only NPB game my dad has seen was a Marines game that we were watching in a veterinarian's office waiting room at 2 a.m. And I was like, here, let's watch a Marines game. And then Inoue tries to stretch a already very thin double into a triple. It did not work, and that is my dad's lasting impression of Japanese baseball.
There you go. That makes me really sad because Inoue was one of my favorite players when I first got into Japanese baseball. Just like such a fun energy guy. That makes me really sad that he's going to be leaving.
When
But
he was
Didn't he
playing on
also-
the sorry, go on.
Didn't he also do like a sumo gesture after hitting a
Yes.
home run?
Yeah.
Just squatting
So
and doing the
awesome.
hand gesture?
There was
I
one
loved it
time
so
where
much.
him and Laird went back to back, and Laird had the sushi celebration
Yeah.
where they would make the sushi and then Inoue ate it, so then he goes up and then they went back to back. It was one of the funniest things ever.
That's awesome.
And then just yeah, and also on Inoue, if you ever just scroll back on the Marines social media pages when he's with the top team, it's like all pictures of him just eating copious amounts of food. It's quite intimidating.
So what I'm hearing is he could become the new executive chef at Zozo Marine Stadium.
Ooh.
I would like
Or
to see
the
that.
culinary curator.
Ooh.
Indeed.
I would
The
love for him
gourmet.
to stick around with the team in some respect. That'd be great.
The
I'll
team
give it
nutrition
5
guy.
years. He'll be on the coaching staff.
There you go.
But someone who's not sticking around, or we don't know if he's sticking around, is CC Mercedes. No word on him yet. Don't know what's going on. While I would like him back, I'm open to exploring other foreign pitcher options, but I feel that it's a benefit to keep Mercedes, and they should try to do that because he's been in Japan for quite a while now and has adapted nicely to playing overseas. And I feel like, it's such a hard thing to adapt to being overseas. And when it comes to the foreign players, I'd always kind of like them to go after, players with experience overseas. And, Mercedes has just been real good. The only problem that Mercedes has is that the team just doesn't like scoring runs for him.
Yeah, I think they should definitely keep him. He's great. So, yeah, hopefully they do keep him. And so that brings us over to the fourth place team, the team that just missed out on the playoffs, but the team that won the draft lottery today. Mike, tell us about that with the Tohoku Rakuten Golden Eagles.
All right, congrats to the Eagles for winning the lottery to draft Rue Muneyama in the draft today. The Meiji University shortstop is a generational talent on defense. Was named by 5 teams in today's draft, with the Eagles eventually winning out in the lottery pick. Via Kyoto News, I have been playing baseball in order for this day to come, said Muneyama, and I'm glad that I was highly evaluated, that he said in a press conference earlier today. I aspire to be a player that fans will be fond of and someone who can play for a long time. And I think it's really interesting here for the Eagles because, the Eagles, as we've said before, their lineup's not getting any younger, and they've had a lot of struggles these past 2 seasons. And the way the baseball in Japan is, they never do, the whole roster blow up rebuild. So I feel like getting a generational talent is pretty much what the Eagles needed. It's kind of like getting like a cheat code or something for them. So I hope that, he is up to the billing that they're giving him, and I hope he can turn the team around. So looking up for the Eagles so far. And one of the things I like about NPB news and just news in Japan in general is how some random things become news. For example, as I was reading earlier, pundits across Japan right now are wondering if the Muneyama pick is fake for Rakuten because his high school had the same primary colors as Rakuten. Yes, this is real news. People are being paid to write articles about this. It's not just one, it's a few. How do I get one of these jobs? And closer Takahiro Norimoto is gonna have, that is still weird to say. Closer Takahiro Norimoto. Get the man back in the starting lineup, please.
Lord knows the Eagles could use him.
Seriously. Speaking of, he's gonna go under the knife for a bone removal in his right foot, and then he'll be able to return in time for spring. Maybe he can be a starter again. Who knows? It's gonna take a while to get used to seeing that closer role on him, even though it's been a whole season. But that's everything for the Eagles.
And so that brings us over to our fifth place team in the Pacific League this season, the Oryx Buffaloes. Take it away, Gabe.
Quiet week for the Buffaloes. Starting with the draft today, they tried to get the same outfielder as the Marines, Misho Nishikawa. So instead, they settled for another outfielder, Yusuke Mugitani from Fuji University. Yaku Cosmopolitan profiled him as a center fielder with speed, like 26 stolen bases in 60 games, and some sneaky opposite field pop. Given that center field is held down usually by either Keita Nakagawa or Shuhei Fukuda, probably an improvement. And today, he was still under contract. The Buffaloes will not be renewing foreign outfielder Cody Thomas's contract. He only appeared in 10 games for the top club, did not register a single hit. See previous commentary on Buffalo's need to do better foreign batter scouting.
And so that brings us over to the Saitama Seibu Lions, the basement-dwelling lions that lay in the darkness of the Pacific League. I forgot I usually preamble with that before I go into the Lions bit, but you know what? I am very happy today as the local Lions supporter because I think their draft went perfectly. The Lions did miss out on 2 lottery picks by also missing out on the aforementioned Muneyama and also Ryusei Ishizuka from the Giants, who just a weird little side note, he seems made for the Giants, actually. He's got such a Giants vibe about him, and he is more pro-ready, I would say, than who the Lions got. But I really like their first-round pickup of Hirohito Saito from Kanazawa High Ishikawa. Really good-looking, nice developmental prospect for them. He's got nice wiry frame, looks like he can put on some real muscle, got decent speed, looks like he might have a bit of pop, and also seems to play some solid defense. So he could be either a really good replacement for Genda one day, or might be a plug-in guy at second base or third base until Genda's gone. Then in the second round, they got Saya Watanabe from Osaka Shogyo University. Really solid batter, too. I didn't see any defensive highlights. That might be a problem with him. But his approach to the plate looks really good. And he also looks like he's got the frame to add on a lot of power. And, yeah, he seems like he could be pretty soon a decent offensive support option for the Lions. And finally, the last pick I kind of scouted was Shoma Karyu from Saiki Nakakujo High in Oita. Nothing really special kind of stuck out with me, but he seems like he's got a nice, easy delivery and solid control. Maybe he could develop into something nice, but it's not like the Lions really need pitching. They needed those bats, and they got those bats today. I actually think it went really well for them. Again, obviously, Muneyama would have been really cool, but I think the Lions did as well as you possibly could have for a team that was last place and missed out on 2 lottery picks. I think they did a really good job. And yeah, so that's that for our draft coverage and the Lions, and that brings us over to our familiar faces in new places. It's the World Series. How are our boys looking over there, Gabe?
The broadcasters in Japan are postponing the season premiere of One Piece so they can show the World Series instead.
Wow.
Big deal.
That's crazy.
I mean, Otani has been kind of quiet at times, but it's still his first season in Chavez Ravine instead of Orange County, and he's gone all the way to the World Series. If he wins it, I think the Hall of Fame is going to knock on his door once his contract is over. I also want to give a shout out to likely Game 2 starter, Ace of Aces, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who is now in the League Championship Series for the 4th consecutive season. Because he was in the last 3 Japan series, and now here he is with the Dodgers. Some guys just got all the luck.
Yeah, that's great. And so that brings us over to our final bit. I actually do have a question of the day, even though we didn't have it on the paper. Let's just get it out there. What are your World Series picks? Gabe first.
Dodgers in 7.
Terrible. Mike.
Hopefully Yankees in 4.
Hopefully, he says. Wow. I am
Never root for the same team in your own league.
That's true. That's fair. I'm going for Yankees in 6, I think. I'm always bad at predicting the number of games. It could easily be 7. I just hope it's 6 because I don't need that stress in my life of Game 7. But that brings us to the end of today's show. We're also obviously most excited for the Japan series. Going to be checking that out and telling you guys what happened next week. As always, thank you for listening. We had a great time having you here. I'm going to do one of those things where I get caught in the air. Before I do that, please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next week on the podcast. Take care.